Broadcasting from Manhattan Beach and the World Wide Web, you're listening to CHSR, HealthyLife.net.
As a service to our listeners, this program is for general information and entertainment purposes only. CHSR HealthyLife.net does not recommend, endorse, or object to the views, products, or topics expressed or discussed by show hosts or their guests. We suggest you always consult with your own personal, medical, financial, or legal advisor.
We think pretty is pretty important in all things in beauty. Welcome to Radio A&B, designed for those who want to live a long and vibrant life. I'm Patty Smucker, a licensed cosmetologist who's been in the beauty industry for over 40 years. Radio A&B, which stands for American Made Beauty, is where we tell the secrets behind the making of health and beauty products. Our program sponsor today is brought to you by Hue Noir, a line of artisanal makeup thoughtfully formulated to enhance the natural beauty of darker-skinned women. Unlike many other makeup lines that purchase products pre-made from private label manufacturers, Hue Noir takes a proprietary approach, sourcing the finest raw materials for their custom formulas. Their handcrafted small batch methodology allows them to use the highest quality ingredients to create a remarkable, coverageable cosmetic that consumers love. But so does Target. Hue Noir in stores at Target, online, and also at AmericanMadeBeauty.com. As we start the month of the year that celebrates mothers, I'm delighted by our topic today. My mother, born in 1932, was an inspired woman of her era who did not acquiesce to the mores of the time for how women should behave or what they wanted from their life. My mother taught me I could achieve anything I wanted in the world. My options were far greater than just marriage and children, and to that end, she encouraged me to show up in the world strong, confident, hardworking, and to expect that I could achieve all that I set to accomplish. As I look back over the last 40 years of my adult life, I'm delighted to say that I listened to my mom, and almost everything she taught me was spot on. What shocks me is that the one part of her lesson that left me ill-prepared to interact with others was showing up in the world as a strong and confident woman. If there has been one thing that has caused me more difficulty and resistance, has been my unwillingness to act like a lady. Needless to say, I am delighted by the growing social movement where women's roles are changing tremendously. The period when a woman's contribution to society was limited to and controlled by men is coming to an end. Women are standing tall, redefining what acting like a lady means, and are playing a major role in many important areas of society. My guest today was inspired at an early age by her grandmother in baking and also by fashion. She's turned these two passions into a method of leadership on how to show up as a strong and confident woman today. Whether she is highlighting a different designer for a fashion cake, working on her new candy jewelry line, or leading hundreds of women in a march to find their voice, you can be sure she's creating a concoction from what inspires her. Allow me to introduce you to Breanne Butler, a chef in New York City and the CEO of By Breanne, a fashion and food concept that specializes in candy jewelry. Born and raised in Detroit, Michigan, Breanne received a scholarship to attend Macabre Culinary Institute during her senior year in high school and graduated from the program at just 20 years old. She moved to New York City in 2011 and began working with the Michelin star Roe Tomato and became the pastry sous chef 18 months later. She then became the executive pastry chef at Facebook New York, becoming widely known in the company for her innovative and unique desserts. When Breanne isn't in her kitchen, she loves to put stamps in her passport, traveling from South Africa to France to expand her food knowledge. She loves to advocate for women and diversity in the restaurant industry and has mentored many cooks through their career. She is also the director of capacity building and a board member for Women's March, where she has been able to use her strength and experience in organizing kitchens to help organize almost 400 marches around the world. Welcome, Breanne. We're delighted to have you with us.
Hi, I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Well, so I've told the audience a little bit about your background. So pastry chefs and fashion. Tell us how those two things sort of came together.
Oh, boy. Well, my cousin, Rachel, who actually passed away, it's been like 7 years at this point. But she and I always would talk about fashion. We watched Project Runway together, and we'd follow all the blogs and all of that. And in 2011, Make-A-Wish actually granted her wish to go to Fashion Week. Rachel had something called Omen syndrome, so she was basically immune suppressed.
Wow.
And, yeah, so she ended up, I just moved to New York, and she came for Fashion Week, and we went to a couple shows together. She met designers and whatnot. And 2 weeks after Fashion Week, she ended up passing away.
Oh, my goodness.
So for me, it was just like, okay, this was like, she was like my best friend.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, if her life wish was to go to Fashion Week, like, how can I somehow be a part of Fashion Week, like, every year?
Right.
And do something for that, just on behalf of her and her spirit and her memory. So it was really the main inspiration for me trying to fuse the two together. And, I mean, I can't even sew a button on, so I was like, I can't actually be a fashion designer. But I was a pastry chef, and that's a very artistic thing. So I started to explore, you know, if I couldn't make a dress, well, I can make a cake. So can I make the cake look like a dress? So it sort of started this really out there concept, which now I'm seeing more of in that trend with both food and fashion. But 7 years ago, people were not doing anything like that. So it's been quite a journey, and, you know, that evolved into my candy jewelry line, which was really cool. I did that for almost a year, but then, like, the whole purpose of this call and this interview was, like, how on earth does a pastry chef from Detroit organize one of the largest protests in history? And it's just quite a journey. It's a story I never get tired of telling, and I really just think it's so important to share that you don't have to have experience in politics, and you don't have to have, you know, all of this, all of these boxes checked in order to be an organizer or in order to make any kind of a difference, whether it's in your work or your neighborhood or your school or in your industry, whatever, or if it's like on a bigger national, global level, which is what we ended up doing. But yeah, so I was the pastry chef at Facebook for 2 years.
And how did that happen? You started the business, and you did your candy, which is another interesting piece. You've all got all of these various different pieces, but you ended up at Facebook being a pastry chef, and that's where you sort of got the opportunity to be more involved in the New York scene in the political environment.
Well, actually, it flipped a bit. So I was working at Rouge Tomate on Madison. It's a Michelin star restaurant. And then one day when I was walking to work, I got a Facebook message from Facebook saying that they were opening kitchens in New York, and they wanted me to be their pastry chef. So I thought it was a scam at first because I was like, this is bizarre. But it ended up being real, and I went to the office, and I took the job. I started that in, it was August of 2015. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's 2014. Anyway, so I was working there for almost 2 years, and then I ended up starting my business. And with that was the candy jewelry, and I had already been doing just the fashion with the cakes and stuff while I was at Facebook, but then I ended up transitioning that into more of just a full-time business for myself. I was still able to work with a lot of tech companies, work with different fashion brands such as Alice and Olivia, for instance, and that was really cool. So, yeah, I was in the middle of doing that, and, you know, if you have your own business, you're a one-woman show in a lot of cases, and I was doing everything from rolling cookie dough out at 3 in the morning to making deliveries in the back of a yellow taxi cab, and like just everything in between, going to like 5 grocery stores in one day to get the cheapest ingredients I could find. Like if butter was on sale at this place, I'd get my butter there, and then eggs on sale there, and all of those things, which was quite a shift from working in a restaurant when you just call the delivery guy and say, hey, I need this, and then it comes in the next day, like actually having to like go around. And being in New York where I don't have a car, that was also difficult because it was oftentimes me schlepping like all kinds of groceries on the train or taking Ubers or what have you. But I was doing that, and then in April of 2016, I was asked to do cookies for Hilary Clinton from Eva Chen, who works at Instagram, and she asked me to do cookies for Hilary for a fundraiser she was throwing with Diane von Furstenberg. So I was like, I remember exactly where I was. I had a batch of cookies in the oven. It was almost midnight, and I got that email, and I immediately, like, called my mom, like, oh, my God, Mom, I'm making cookies for our future president. Like, I can't believe it.
How exciting.
Yeah, so that was, like, really cool moment for me. But what I didn't expect was to go to the event and just be so moved by the stories and hearing just people standing up and literally being like, you have to win. Like, I remember there was one gay man that was there, and he was like, you have to win. Like, my husband and I just got the right to get married, and now we've adopted 2 kids, and like we're a family, and now all of that's going to be in jeopardy if you don't win, and you know, all these things. And it was just like, oh my God, this is so important. And I had just been in my bubble. I had just been worried about my next order. I was not paying attention to anything political. But it was also a really big moment for me because as a woman and a young woman with that, being in a very male-dominated industry and having to deal with sexism and harassment and having to deal with even things like equal pay, you know, finding out I was making $10,000 less than somebody else in a lower position than me, a male in another department, like all of those things, just having to fight for that constantly and representation in the kitchen and trying to get more women, and just thinking, you know, if we have a woman in our highest office, then maybe things will get better for us. And, you know, I think that a lot of us, especially in big cities, we were in our bubble. We thought that it was, like, in the bag.
Right.
And in November, we found out that wasn't the case. And I had left Javits Center, which is where Hillary's party was, and I just had to get off the train to throw up because I was so upset. And 3 other women were throwing up, too. And it was just like a moment where we all hugged and cried around a trash can on 42nd Street.
Oh, my goodness.
And it was just like, all right, well, now what? Like, this can't be our life for the next 4 years. I mean, people in New York were like 9/11 and 11/9 to hear a pin drop in New York. Like, I've never felt such energy. Like, it was just silence.
Wow.
Silence. Yeah. And you know, for me as a chef, like, I'm a problem solver. So I was just like, what next? Like, how are we going to get through this? This is awful. This is horrible. But what are we going to do? And so I went on Facebook, and I was just, you know, reading all the posts of my friends and things. And I saw an event that a woman in Hawaii by the name of Teresa Shook had created, calling for a march on Washington the day after the inauguration. And I just reached out immediately. What do you need? What can I do? To the page. And, you know, on Facebook, it says your name and where you work. Well, I still had under my name Facebook. So I think that the team thought I was an engineer and not the pastry chef at Facebook, because they were like, oh, you get to make all the pages for all the states you get to D.C. for the march.
Right.
So I became a host of the event. And then within hours, I had women from Switzerland and London and Australia, Canada, all reaching out to you saying, we want to have a page because we want to have a march. And women in Australia were like, please don't change the date because we already bought 10 plane tickets.
Oh, my goodness.
To come to D.C. And it's just like, it became so real, but so fast. Like, all of it just escalated so quickly, and it was so exciting, but it was also a little daunting because you're in it, you're in the thick of it, and you're like watching this thing go completely viral.
Right.
And you're just thinking to yourself, like, oh my God, like, is this like really happening? Like, am I really like doing this? Am I really on a call with the New York Times right now? Am I really talking to people? Like, you know, like we had this one woman, Teresa Hurd, who's the vice president at Intel for their creative agency, and she was like one of the first people to reach out. She was like, I've got people, like, we can help you with your branding, your logo, your commercial, TSA, all this thing. And I'm just like, how is it like I'm like getting this right now? This is crazy. Like, I'm supposed to be making the food
right.
for the staff that's making the commercial. I'm not actually helping produce this. Like, this is crazy. But that's what was so powerful about our movement. I mean, this was everyday people stepping up and taking action and saying, here's what I can do. And, you know, whether it was people like me that were chefs or fashion designers, stay-at-home moms, yoga teachers, I mean, people like Teresa with her skills as just a creative visionary, like helping make our logo. That's just like so iconic at this point. I mean, everybody lending their skills in whatever capacity just to help make this happen. And we did it. And we did it, too. It was like less than 3 months with 3 major holidays between. Like, I remember I cook Thanksgiving every year. And I was in my grandma's kitchen, like, you know, I was holding a conference call for 200 people that I'd never talked to in my life while I was prepping Thanksgiving dinner.
Wow.
I mean, it was just like I was literally putting myself on mute when I was talking and trying to do all the chopping and the sauteing and all the loud stuff so no one could hear it. I mean, it was just nuts. Like, I was in the Dominican Republic for Christmas, and I was like waking up at 5 a.m. to get on Skype calls with folks in Europe, and I mean, it was nuts. I mean, and all of us were dealing with that, with our family and our friends being like, what is going on? And for me, as a small business owner, I really had to make a choice in saying, am I going to give up the time of year where I make 1/3 of my income for the whole year between November and January? Am I going to give that up to help put this march on?
And you did.
Absolutely did. That was tough.
Yeah, you absolutely did. And before we break from this first segment, tell us what the results are. What was the numbers of people that showed up on that day after the inauguration?
So, I mean, I can't give you an exact number. I know D.C., they're estimating like 1.2 million. We had about 5 million people register as they marched around the world. But I can tell you right now that number was probably closer to 6, maybe even 7. Because I'll tell you right now, Patty, like, I was getting emails from women all around the world, women in Russia, women in China even, saying I couldn't register my march, but I marched. Like, I walked my dog around the block, or I had my friends in the basement. I mean, we chuckle, but it's not. I mean, at the same time, like, this is real. Like, these women literally, and you look at it right now what's happening to folks in China, like, the government is basically scoring them in a sense that if you attend some sort of protest like that, like, you're docked down ratings based on the government. Anybody that is affiliated with you also gets docked down. I mean, it's crazy times we're living in, but women's rights are under attack. And I'll tell you right now, we did not have 5 million people marching around the world because of our current president of the United States. Like, that was also really small thinking.
Right.
This showed that there's so many issues women around the world are dealing with, whether we're talking about gender violence or clean water or reproductive freedom, representation, like, all these issues. Climate change, I mean, we had the scientists in Antarctica marching. Like, they can see climate change happening in front of their eyes.
Right.
That's why they marched. I mean, it was so powerful.
Right.
It was so powerful, and it just showed that when women come together, we...
Absolutely, and that's the beauty of this is that there's a whole shift that has taken place. So when we come back, we're going to talk more about this amazing time and the role that you've continued to play in it. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Shh. Over here. Here's a secret for a virus-free computer. ESET. They've been a pioneer in the antivirus industry for over 25 years. 25 years of innovative, top-rated antivirus protection. ESET's award-winning security solutions provide a safe online experience for over 100 million home and business computer owners. They are so affordable, fast, and simple to use. So be gone, you blue screen of death. ESET's on my computer. If it's not on yours, visit HealthyLife.net's advertiser page and click on ESET now.
Here's the thing about beauty. It's pretty. At AmericanMadeBeauty.com, we're all about the pretty, making it easy for you to find what makes your beauty shine. We have essentially everything you need, and AmericanMadeBeauty.com celebrates brands that were created right here in the U.S. of A. Imagine everything you need from the best hair, skin, and nail products to makeup and even the tools, because it's all about pretty at AmericanMadeBeauty.com. We also think you're pretty important, so visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com. Browse, buy, learn. AmericanMadeBeauty.com. We're looking for a few good American beauty manufacturers who want to increase their brand in an exclusive credentialed category. If you're an American company who has conceived, designed, and bottled brands that are all about pretty, then we're pretty sure we're talking about you. And we're pretty sure you should be on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. This beauty website focuses on entrepreneurs and beauty startups as well as established brands. If it's pretty, we want to see it, and we want to sell it on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. To learn how you can be part of AmericanMadeBeauty.com, visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com now.
What does HealthyLife.net and Amazon.com have in common? Well, they're both available on the Internet. They both give great value. But most important, most of our positive program hosts and guests are accomplished authors, and their books are available from, you got it, Amazon.com. Now, it even gets better than that, because when you're listening on air to a HealthyLife.net host or guest, you can go directly to Amazon.com and you can order your book while you're still listening to your favorite HealthyLife.net program. So when you hear an author you like, go to the homepage of HealthyLife.net and click on Amazon.com.
Where positive people and radio unite. HealthyLife.net.
Hey, welcome back. This is Patty Smucker, and you're listening to Radio AMB on HealthyLife.net. I'm here with Breanne Butler, of the Director of Capacity Building and Board Member for Women's March. And we've been talking about the Women's March that took place after the inauguration and has now become a movement. Breanne, tell us a little bit about what's happened since January of this year and this amazing movement that's taking place.
Sure. I mean, well, I think it's safe to say that we haven't really had a problem finding reasons to either hit the streets or do any kind of organizing with just everything that's happening around the world, especially here in the United States. I mean, it really felt like as soon as the march was done, it was like, then I think it was the next week the Muslim ban happened, and so everybody was heading to JFK and LAX and all the major airports, lawyers going and spending complete nights on the floors of airports trying to work with folks that were worried about getting detained. Since then, too, we also had a huge day for International Women's Day. We had a huge strike that we ended up doing, a nationwide strike, where we called on women to not go to work or school if they could, and if they couldn't afford to do that for whatever reason, then at least to wear red in solidarity or help support just any kind of women-owned business that maybe couldn't close for the day. So we called it Day Without a Woman. And it was really powerful because a lot of men hit me up and were like, oh, my God, I had no idea how much y'all did. Like, I had a tough day today without everybody here. Like, I can't believe that all of my female coworkers do so much every day. Like, the office didn't feel the same without them. And we were trying to make a point of, exactly, you need to think about what it's like without us and what we do, and talk about things like equal pay and representation and what that means for us. That was really powerful because that was the first time that the United States had a really strong presence for International Women's Day.
And you mentioned
30s or 40s.
Right, and you said in the earlier segment, which I thought is really powerful, is that this whole momentum is not just about who's sitting in the White House, but about so many issues around the world that affect the quality of life for women, and as a result, the quality of life for humankind.
Exactly, exactly. I mean, and it's really been so eye-opening when you, again, talk to women, especially outside of the U.S., and the issues they're dealing with. And some of it is a bit of foreshadowing and saying, like, this could happen in the U.S. Like, don't be blind or think that we're above it. I mean, especially, it breaks my heart. You look at what's happening to the women in Venezuela right now. I mean, it's absolutely devastating. But we've seen just their entire country just crumble in a lot of ways, their entire economy and the governance of all of it. It's just collapsing. And, of course, women are disproportionately affected by that. And every issue, really. And that's why, one of the reasons why it was called Women's March. It certainly wasn't excluding men or people that didn't identify with either gender. But we wanted to say that, like, look, women are the most marginalized community in the world. Like, and you want to take that a step further and talk about black women or indigenous women or Muslim women, like, then it's way worse. But women in general need to be leading, and we need to be representing ourselves and our issues. We're sick of having folks speak on behalf of us. Oftentimes they're men, and we want to be able to talk about our own issues and really just have a strong presence. Women make up half of this world. Like, we should have equality. It's crazy, but I mean, it's also been exciting because since January 2016, I've definitely seen a shift in women just speaking up, and they want to talk about women running for office. I mean, oh my God, in the U.S. alone, I mean, and it's been really cool because even one of our organizers for Women's March Florida, she's also on our national team, she's running for office in Florida,
right,
in her district, and it's a flippable district. Like, she's going to turn that red from red to blue, and that's powerful. And we just see all of that happening, and this wave of women really stepping up. You want to talk about Time's Up and the Me Too movement, what's happening there. I mean, women are really starting to finally understand that when we come together and we support each other, and when we support the most marginalized among us, then we all get equality. I mean, again, if we liberate the rights of an indigenous woman, and we liberate the rights of a white woman. Like, obviously, those two are just, this is called intersectionality. And it's been really good having these conversations, too, and having these educational moments when we're on the ground talking to a lot of women, especially white women. I mean, I think it's important to note that a lot of people that either organized or marched on Women's March, that was the first time they marched, and myself included.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But we need to stop and recognize and say that we, especially as white women, we're late to the game. Like, this might be new to us, but this isn't new. Like, civil rights isn't a new battle. This is something that women of color particularly have been battling a long time.
And that's one of the main initiatives of this organization is education, and just that you being able to really convey some of these important concepts to people. And you have a program specifically called Challenging the White Woman. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, we have a program, a workshop we do called Confronting White Womanhood. And we talk exactly about these issues in a sense that just really peeling the layers. And believe me, this is a very, deep wound that needs to be healed, not only just us as a country, but particularly between women of color and white women. This is a deep wound, especially since, let's not forget about the percentage of women that voted for white women that voted for Donald Trump. I mean, that it was I know personally, coming from Detroit, I know that there was a lot of women of color that did not want to vote for Hillary, but they did because they're we cannot have Trump. And I don't want to get into the whole politics of, Hillary and Bernie and whatnot, but what I'm saying is women of color knew what was at risk. And guess what? Guess who the first people this administration was going to go after? And it proved true. The Muslim women, black men too. I mean, all of those communities were the first to be affected by the Trump administration. But yeah, I think that was just a shock for all of us. And again, all women, white women too. That was for the first time. A lot of white women were scared for the first time when Trump was elected, and again, myself included. And there's nothing wrong with empathizing and recognizing that fear and knowing that, a lot of us are feeling in that feeling. But again, we have to take a pause and recognize that we are late to this fight, and that women of color have been in this fight. And whether you're talking about Standing Rock or if you're talking about Baltimore, right. These things have been happening so much longer than since November of 2016.
Right. All right. Well, we're going to take another break, and when we come back, we'll talk about becoming an activist and what are some of the things that the Women's March is doing to get out the vote. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Here's the thing about beauty. it's pretty. At AmericanMadeBeauty.com, we're all about the pretty, making it easy for you to find what makes your beauty shine. We have essentially everything you need, and AmericanMadeBeauty.com celebrates brands that were created right here in the U.S. of A. Imagine everything you need from the best hair, skin, and nail products to makeup and even the tools, because it's all about pretty at AmericanMadeBeauty.com. We also think you're pretty important, so visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com. Browse, buy, learn. AmericanMadeBeauty.com.
For all your live or pre-recorded webcasting needs, come to earthchannel.com. Get your web-based message out to a select group or the whole world. It's easy. A pioneer in webcasting, earthchannel.com provides the best products and services to big corporations and government users. And now this same technology is available to you. They have the best Earthcast encoders, servers, and products to meet your technical needs. But wait, don't want to mess with technical stress? No problem. They'll do it for you. EarthChannel.com is your answer. You can use webcasting for lots of things like advertising, marketing, customer support, training, and don't forget web radio and TV. In fact, you're listening to a live Earthcast right now. So come to EarthChannel.com. Actualize your audio or video webcasting needs today. You can't beat the friendly service or the price. Call EarthChannel.com at 1-800-849-8978. That's 1-800-849-8978.
We're looking for a few good American beauty manufacturers who want to increase their brand in an exclusive credentialed category. If you're an American company who has conceived, designed, and bottled brands that are all about pretty, then we're pretty sure we're talking about you. And we're pretty sure you should be on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. This beauty website focuses on entrepreneurs and beauty startups as well as established brands. If it's pretty, we want to see it, and we want to sell it on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. To learn how you can be part of AmericanMadeBeauty.com, visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com now.
When you're looking for bedding, department store prices can shock you. Well, be shocked no more. Sell steak cheap, not cheap steak. That's the motto of Anna's Linens. Although they don't sell steak, they do sell the best bedding, bath, and home decor items. They strive to provide their merchandise at extreme value to their customers, and they do it. Great everyday prices on everything and military discounts. Plus, if you visit them online, they have clearance items and internet specials. Visit them online now at HealthyLife.net's advertiser page.
Radio your way. HealthyLife.net.
Thanks for staying with us. This is Patty Smucker. You're listening to Radio AMB on HealthyLife.net. I'm here with Breanne Butler. She is the Director of Capacity Building and a board member for Women's March. And we've been talking about all of the things that have happened in this last 18 months and the development of the Women's March. Breanne, tell us a little bit about what are in the educational component, what are you teaching people about how to become an activist?
Sure. So right now, the big campaign we're currently working on is a 10-city tour where we're going around the country, and we are talking with not only our chapters, but also different partners and different folks on the ground about a lot of these issues doing workshops and panels and trainings, and then also doing rallies and just trying to boost morale, trying to get people pumped up, and also talking about getting out to vote this November for the midterm elections. I know that I've had a lot of people tell me, I have never even voted in a midterm election. Like, I don't even know. I only vote every 4 years. And that's okay if that was your past. But moving forward, every single person, especially women, need to be at the polls every election cycle. But the midterm elections are super important this year. A lot of people don't understand that midterm elections often shape who is in our Senate and our Congress and our representatives on a local level, on a statewide level, regional level. And it really does build up to the presidential election every 4 years. But especially as women, you know, we can't forget that our grandmothers voted for, our grandmothers fought for our right to vote. So it's really important for us to be using our vote to shape the way our country's going. So we're working on this tour. We've already, actually, this past weekend, we went to North Carolina, which was really powerful. We've been to Ohio. We started the tour off in Las Vegas with a big rally on our anniversary. So it's been really exciting, and it's really great to be going to these red states that are often overlooked and oftentimes are disregarded, especially from folks living in more urban areas. So it's been a really powerful and helpful to be traveling around and talking to folks directly on the ground, the issues that they are challenged to them, issues that are important to them, what have you. But as far as talking to people about getting involved, I think it's important to recognize that step one is, again, understanding that everybody can make a difference. And whether your difference is something small, even if it's in your home, just talking to, a racist uncle or whatever, like that right there is something that everybody can do. But as far as making a difference on a bigger level, that is also something that everybody has the power and the fire inside of them to do. So it's important to be inspiring and just making sure to meet people where they're at and saying, like, look, what are the skills you have, like how that can apply to activism. I mean, for me as a chef, like, I'm not a tech person, I'm not a computer person, like, and the thought of even making a spreadsheet is, like, daunting to me. So, I mean, even just having women during the march planning or what have you say, hey, like, I can do this, I can make this spreadsheet that'll organize the buses, or I can do X, Y, Z. I mean, all of those are skills that you wouldn't think of, but those are all places where people can even plug into that might be doing that on the daily for their job or whatever, their business.
So really focusing on what your particular skill set is and being able to come together with other people and figure out how you can lean in and make a contribution. Sounds like it was the first place.
Absolutely. And a lot of it, too, is simply showing up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's, again, talking about in the last segment how people of color have been in the civil rights battle for a long, long, long time, decades. Like, there's a lot of community meetings that happen on a weekly, bi-weekly, monthly basis that folks can definitely attend and even just sit there, observe, listen, and say, I'm here to help if you need me. Like,
and I love that. That's such an important thing, because I joined a group at the beginning of the year called the Nasty Church Ladies. And actually, the real emphasis of this group is let's listen. Let's hear one another. And one of the biggest things, one of my very, very best friends is a very strong, devout Republican. And we actually have been able to come to a point of talking and listening to one another. And I've learned things from her, but she's also learned from me. And I think that's probably one of the biggest parts of this piece about showing up and being able to learn that skill set.
Absolutely. And also, I should say, this is another layer of it. A, show up, but B, be mindful of how you show up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's really, too, I've seen it happen where people come to these meetings and they don't know anybody or anything, and they might be sort of a type A personality, and that's great. Like, again, a lot of the women that are in the leadership roles in Women's March are type A. They're very strong-willed, and that's good because we need that energy. And, of course, people butt heads. You're not going to agree on everything. But it's really important that when you go to these meetings, again, to show up as an ally and say, what do you need to help? Don't show up thinking that you're going to save the world and you're going to, whip this event into shape or what have you. Like, I mean, you're a guest in these meetings, especially when you want to talk about community meetings that have been happening a long time. You are there as a guest. And it's really important, too, to show up, just to show up and say, what do you need help with? And not show up to say, oh, well, we need you to come to our event. or we need you to do X, or we need you to come to this. Like, I think that that's another mistake I've seen happen. And then oftentimes it's a very naive mistake or coming from a place of, oh, well, I just thought that whatever. But it's, again, important because right now we really, especially between white people and people of color, there needs to be a trust that's built again, and we need to be showing up in their spaces saying, hey, we are allies, like we are here to use whatever skills you need or any kind of privilege we can offer to help make this event. But we are trying to, whatever, revamp your efforts or try to, like, barge in and do it better and bigger. Like, all those things are, just missing the point completely. It's important to respect the work that has been done and the work that is going to continue to be done.
Yes, and I love that. And on that note, we'll take another break. But I love the idea that respect the work that's already been done, because there's a lot of movement that's already taken place. When we come back, we'll talk about some of the partners that the Women's March is looking for and what some of their plans are for moving forward. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Here's the thing about beauty. It's pretty. At AmericanMadeBeauty.com, we're all about the pretty, making it easy for you to find what makes your beauty shine. We have essentially everything you need, and AmericanMadeBeauty.com celebrates brands that were created right here in the U.S. of A. Imagine everything you need, from the best hair, skin, and nail products to makeup and even the tools, because it's all about pretty at AmericanMadeBeauty.com. We also think you're pretty important, so visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com. Browse, buy, learn. AmericanMadeBeauty.com.
When you're looking for bedding, department store prices can shock you. Well, be shocked no more. Sell steak cheap, not cheap steak. That's the motto of Anna's Linens. Although they don't sell steak, they do sell the best bedding, bath, and home decor items. They strive to provide their merchandise at extreme value to their customers, and they do it. Great everyday prices on everything and military discounts. Plus, if you visit them online, they have clearance items and internet specials. Visit them online now at HealthyLife.net's advertiser page.
We're looking for a few good American beauty manufacturers who want to increase their brand in an exclusive credentialed category. If you're an American company who has conceived, designed, and bottled brands that are all about pretty, then we're pretty sure we're talking about you. And we're pretty sure you should be on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. This beauty website focuses on entrepreneurs and beauty startups as well as established brands. If it's pretty, we want to see it, and we want to sell it on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. To learn how you can be part of AmericanMadeBeauty.com, visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com now.
Oh, man, it never fails. My suitcase just got ripped apart.
Life is a journey. Make it a pleasant one. Use Samsonite. You know the name. For almost a century, Samsonite luggage has proved itself to be the worldwide leader in innovative travel solutions. Let it be yours. Visit HealthyLife.net's affiliate Samsonite on our homepage and click to look at the fine luggage from suitcases to golf travel bags. And don't forget, take a look at their travel accessories. Make life a journey, a pleasant one, with Samsonite.
HealthyLife.net, where positive overcomes negative.
Hi there, it's Patty Smucker, and you're listening to Radio A&B on HealthyLife.net. I'm here with Breanne Butler. She is the Director of Capacity Building and a board member for the Women's March. And we have been talking about the things that have happened since the Women's March came together. Breanne, tell us a little bit about some of the partners that that you are working with and that you would like to be working with to continue some of your efforts.
Yeah, so, I can't name all of our partners because we have hundreds of partners, but it's really exciting because we've got folks from national initiatives to folks from grassroots initiatives. What was the name of the ladies you meet with?
The Nasty Church Ladies.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, a lot of just even really, really grassroots local organizations have signed on to partner for whether it's our convention or the Power to the Polls campaign we're working on. or any kind of march. But it's really exciting. I mean, I think that one of the powerful things about Women's March is we are a connector. And it's been cool because a lot of our partners even were like, you know what, we've never actually worked with this person, or we've never even heard of this organization, even though we're all in alignment on working on the same goals together. So it was really cool to be able to see that happening as a relationship building that happened as a result of Women's March, because it truly was an umbrella in bringing a lot of these people from different sectors together. And it was also cool to see, like, you know, organizations that might be in the fight for reproductive freedom talking and interacting with folks in the fight for racial justice or climate change. And so that was also really cool to be able to just watch the transformation of activists and organizers that might be just so focused on one issue and really see those conversations happening about other people and their issues that they're fighting on and working around. It was really just beautiful to watch and see. And we have our unity principles, which we created during the March planning. And they're really just really beautiful. I encourage everyone to look at them on our website. But we talk about reproductive rights, LGBT rights, workers' rights, civil rights, disability rights, immigrant rights, etc. So to really just bring partners from all of those different backgrounds together for Women's March, and also have even people in those spaces help us create our strategy around the unity principles, was also really powerful, to have all those different perspectives and those voices, and really just trying to make this as inclusive and as intersectional as possible.
What are some of the things that for you personally, what are some of the things that have been the greatest ahas?
I mean, I think that I've already talked about one of them, was just like watching again all of these women of color that have been in this fight for so long. I mean, I even just recently had an aha moment. I was watching the documentary on HBO, Baltimore Rising, and just watching these black women and men doing the exact same chants that we've been doing the past year and a half, and the same march cries and rally cries, and watching them get completely, like, you know, tased or whatever, like, by the police, and having all of this chaos around them, and the tension being felt from them doing that, and literally fearing for their lives and their safety. And it was a little bit humbling to see, like, just a year and a half later, here we have people going to rallies and marches every weekend and shouting out these just amazing historical chants, and they don't have that fear, and they don't have, you know, the worry of, oh my God, am I going to get shot, or am I going to get hurt, or am I going to get beat up, or am I going to be thrown in jail? Like, that fear's not there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely it's important to, again, just respect the work that's been happening and the sacrifices that have been made, and to really brush up on history. I mean, and to be honest, I'm excited. I actually am taking a summer course at Cornell this summer around diversity and inclusion, just to try to understand and learn more about it. But I learn every day, even just reading articles or reading books, listening to podcasts or shows like this one, and just talking to different women that have been in these spaces, and different ages too, like talking to older women and listening about their struggles that they had, and just the evolution of feminism in general has been really powerful. But I think that every day it's important to just listen, and really listen with your heart, and absorb this knowledge and absorb our history, and respect and honor what the women before us have done, and how we can carry that torch moving forward. One of my favorite moments of planning the march was when Elder Bernice King, Dr. King's daughter, got on the call with all of us and said, "You all are picking up the torch, but my father left behind when he was assassinated. And it's so important that you don't drop that torch, because it's been dropped the past 50 years, and we can't let it drop again. It's our duty to make sure that we keep carrying that baton and pass it along to the next people. And you don't know who the next Lori Steinem or Angela Davis is in a room. And again, that's why it's so important to not look at people's credentials or what they've done or they haven't done. Just be a passionate, open mind, somebody that wants to contribute and help, because you don't know when you light someone's inner fire, you don't know what that flame could turn out to be and the effect that could have and the lives that could be impacted and changed from that. So it's just so important to not disregard people or, suspend judgment or try to just really see the human soul for what it is and not have these stigmas and stereotypes around it.
Breanne, thank you. It's really delightful to listen to you and, some of the things that you touched me today with, really listen with your heart and learning about history, because, history is not that long ago. I'm just barely 60, and I remember the day that the Anita Hill and Clarence Thomas trial took place, and I remember how it was a water moment. It was a watershed moment, and my career went in a different direction as a result of this. So thank you. Thank you for the work that you're doing. Thank you for sharing your time today, and thanks for being with us and telling you.
Thank you for having me. This was such a pleasure.
Great. All right, well, that's going to do it for us today. Get out and vote one way or another, no matter what. It's important. And next week, join me as we meet the owner of Inner Sense, a brand who is redefining green beauty. I'm Patty Smucker. Thank you for listening to Radio A&B, where we think pretty is pretty important in all things in beauty.